welcome to the show. Sorry, guys, we've had some technical difficulties.
We're off to a good start here today.
Well, I'm trying to do about 27 things at the same time, and Periscope's looking at the same video that it was about, I don't know, 25 minutes ago. So I think
Periscope's hanging out with us. It's okay.
I might stop the Periscope and we might come back to it at the end of the show. That's why so you go, Chris. You're in charge.
So hi guys, welcome to the Keepers. Chris Schubert, Paige DeMacco, since I will do Paige's job for her. Welcome in. Jam-packed show here today. Where do you want to start, Paige?
Where are we going to start?
Where do you want to start? I'm leaving it up to you.
Let's talk about Andrew Luck.
You want to talk about Andrew Luck?
Yeah, we're going to go to Twitter. We'll go back to the poll later, but let's start off. Let's kick things off with
Keep
Andrew
the
Luck.
poll in the background here, everyone.
Yeah,
I want you to read
it.
this, see what's going on. We're going to get back to it here in a little bit. Andrew Luck, this is a major update that he's been shut down, the throwing shoulder banged up, and that he's probably not going to play for a little while, probably the remainder of the season. Okay. It's a big deal. You have him on your roster. You decided to hold on to Andrew Luck because you thought somehow, some way he was going to be able to come back this season. If you don't have an IR spot on your roster in fantasy,
better drop him.
Gonzo. Okay.
Drop him like it's hot.
See you later, Andrew Luck.
You're
hitting the free agency. You're gone.
Yeah, you have to.
And I think there are much better options out there for you for a backup quarterback. Specifically, if you're in a position where you have Andrew Luck and you have a quarterback that just so happens to be on a bye this week. You ready for this?
Yeah.
You got Jared Goff who's available. He's going up against the Cardinals, a really good team that he's able to put up points against. Okay. You have Blake Bortles going up against the Bucks, who are the third. They give the third most points to quarterbacks in fantasy. I even like Tyrod. I like not Tyrod Taylor. Who's the other guy that I'm thinking of? Tyrod Taylor, Blake Bortles, and Jared Goff are the three that I love a lot.
I was gonna assist you, but I
was gonna get there
Chris.
Because I almost said Trevor Siemian, but I don't like Trevor Siemian in this situation because there are other guys that I do like a Jared Goff, like a Tyrod Taylor, like a Blake Bortles. Those are the three I like.
Those are the three I like this week.
I think they have really good matchups. And this is kind of the point of the year where you need to look very matchup specific when you have injuries, when you have bye weeks, and these are three that I like this week.
So here's the thing. Okay. Andrew Luck, if you don't have an IR spot, it's time to drop him. Okay? Drop it like
put him in a cannon, shoot him away.
Okay?
Yeah.
Bye. Love you, Andrew Luck. See you next year. Let's try and revamp that shoulder. Let's get it going. Okay, let's get that cortisone shot.
Okay, that was the right shoulder. I wanted to make sure.
Right shoulder. Make sure it's looking good. But let's go to the poll. Everybody, let's take a look at this poll. We got a great poll. Okay. It's wide receivers this week.
We did running backs last week.
Yes, we did.
Okay, so
we did running backs last week.
Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Julio Jones, Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, and
options.
Other, my favorite player in the
NFL. Other is your
favorite player in the NFL. I have him on all my fantasy teams.
You're going to always take Other.
Always take Other. Yeah. Always take the field. So obviously get your votes in. I know we have a bunch of votes already in on this. Get your votes in on which player is going to score the most fantasy points this week.
And one I've seen, a little trend here going.
On Trend Thursdays.
A little trend that's been happening is that people are just choosing the one that they have. That's not the point of the poll. The point of the poll is to say who you think is going to score the most points, not what you want to have.
I also saw somebody name a non-wide receiver. That's not allowed either. You can't just name a player. Yeah, he's not on this list. He doesn't count.
Hunt is not a wide receiver, people. I saw you, Blackhawk Mick, on Twitter.
Yeah, it doesn't count. You're out. You're banned from the poll from further notice.
Yeah,
that's it. You're banned.
Thrown off, Blackhawk Mick. I know you might be a Blackhawks fan, but
it doesn't excuse not following the rules of the show.
NFL bad behavior.
Yeah, follow the rules of the show or you're out.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, switch. You got to switch off.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to switch off. Right, I want Chris to do his job.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Back to
look at that.
No, not that one. I want this one.
I'm working on it, Paige.
Come on, Chris. Dang it, it's taking too long for me.
Oh, there's your screen again.
Oh wow, Chris.
I got you. Don't worry.
He's really struggling. He's struggling.
No, that's fine again. What? All of these go to the same one. I've hit the button 4 times. There you go. There you go. Continue on. We're good. We're good. What do you want to talk about next, everybody?
Oh my God, I just want to rerun that segment over again.
Nothing to see here. Everything's okay. We're on the right screen. Let me get the mouse cursor out of the way.
Getting really red in the face, getting really flustered.
We're good.
Let's take a break here and let's go to Dr. Perek so that Chris can calm down and stop being so red.
I'm Dr. Sealan Perek, the Fantasy Doctor with thefantasydoctors.com. This is our injury blitz where we will do rapid fire updates on injuries of key players that you will be interested in for your fantasy leagues. So we're going to start off the bat. Emmanuel Sanders and Isaiah McKenzie, both receivers for the Broncos, have ankle sprains, usually 2 to 4 weeks to return to play when there's severe ankle sprains like theirs was. So look for them to work their way back, be a week-to-week evaluation, but 2 to 4 weeks for them to return to play. Teddy Bridgewater has been cleared for practice, and look for him to enter a real game situation in our estimation, early November, mid-November. And with Sam Bradford's knee becoming a continual issue, going through more treatments, look for Teddy Bridgewater to become the primary quarterback by middle of November. Aaron Rodgers has a clavicle fracture, a break of your collarbone right here. He did undergo surgery. He is out for at least 8 weeks, maybe up to 10 or 12, depending on exactly where the break is. That means that he is out for the regular season, but could make an appearance for the Packers with a deep run into the postseason play. Fournette has a foot and ankle injury. Again, the specifics are unclear, but it sounds like a sprain, and if that's the case, he should be available to play for Week 7. Jameis Winston has an AC sprain and a acromioclavicular joint sprain. These are shoulder injuries that you can play through as long as the pain is quieted down. He may need an injection into the AC joint to help quiet this down, but look for him to play. Trevor Siemian has a shoulder sprain. I anticipate that he will be able to play this week as well. Tyreek Hill has a concussion, will continue to follow the concussion protocol, and if he clears, once he clears, then he'll be available to play. Most athletes will miss at least 1 week in the regular season, 1 game. Same thing with Sharkandrick West with a concussion. Golden Tate, they have a bye this week. He has an AC joint sprain as well. Look for him to be fine for Week 8, but with the bye week, it gives him an extra week to rest and recover. Max Williams has a re-injury of his ankle sprain. 2 to 4 weeks for him to return to play. Anytime you re-injure an ankle sprain, it just takes longer. There's more pain, more swelling, more issues with mobility. 2 to 4 weeks for him to return to play. And finally, Luke Kuechly continues to be in the concussion protocol. Once he clears, he will be able to return to play. Again, concussions, no way to predict outcomes, no way to predict return to play. Usually missing at least 1 week, if not more, given that this has been his 3rd concussion that looked pretty severe in the 3rd year. You always start wondering, when is enough enough? When is it that you have enough concussions that you say, I'm done with my career in the NFL? And I want to move forward. So that is a discussion that Kuechly is probably having with staff members, with other players, and with his family. I'm Dr. Siemian, the fantasy doctor with the Injury Blitz. You can always follow us on the fantasydoctors.com website or on Twitter at the FantasyDRS, where we give you live, up-to-date injury insight, and we will be available to answer questions.
So some of you would maybe like to know what we do during the breaks here while Dr. Parekh is giving you the injury blitz. Here's what I did. This is what I was doing during the last break. I was learning how to figure out how to switch this stupid HDMI switcher, the stupid TV over here. So there you go. There's a little bit of an insight into what goes on during the break. So step 1 says place the HDMI switcher in a spot where it's easily in reach. That was problem number 1. It's down over here in the corner where I can't see it.
Problem number 2, Chris got really worked up.
So hold on, here we go.
Face got red, got really nervous.
We're going to do this together, and I'm probably going to embarrass myself again. I'm going to try to get it back to the right screen. Ready?
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Chris, round of applause for Chris. He finally figured out how to do his job.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Okay.
Very happy.
So let's get into what Dr. Parekh said, because there were some interesting nuggets in there, specifically the nugget about Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
That Teddy Bridgewater could be back as early as November.
Really pumped about that.
That's a big deal.
Really
if you're an Andrew
that.
Luck owner and you need to figure out another quarterback, maybe you take a chance and you pick up Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly a place to start.
If you have Aaron Rodgers and you're starting, I don't know, Jacoby Brissett right now because that was the best available option out there. Right now might be the time you go out and you pick up a guy like Teddy Bridgewater in hopes that a couple weeks from now when you're heading into the playoffs, you have a better quarterback on a better team that's going to have to be competing for the division. Exactly.
And I think with Teddy Bridgewater, it's a case of if you're in a situation where you can take that risk. Maybe you have your quarterback that's clear of the bye week.
Oh, I'm going to pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, like if you have Drew Brees and he's already passed his bye week, why not? Why not pick up Teddy Bridgewater? See if you can trade it for something down the road when you're trying to make the playoff push.
Yeah.
I see no reason why. If you're in a situation, and again, you have to have the ability to do this. Don't force this.
No, don't make it happen just to happen.
Right. If you have the ability to make this happen, I would definitely pick up Teddy Bridgewater because he could not only help your fantasy team by playing, but he may help your fantasy team by getting you something a little bit later on.
All right. The other quick injuries to go through: Emmanuel Sanders, Jameis Winston, Tyreek Hill. Some of these quick things that Dr. Parekh was talking about. Emmanuel Sanders is going to be out for a couple of weeks, it looks like. He has a 2 to 4 week injury, looking like more towards the 2-week frame that he will be out. But Emmanuel Sanders has been a really good option thus far. So you're hurting. Tyreek Hill looks like he will be playing tonight.
Neck injury is what it's listed as.
Not quite sure about the concussion, but that's what it was listed at. And Jameis Winston, we're going to get into start and sit, and he is going to kick things off for us with start and sit. So we want to get into that in a second. We're going to start off with our Thursday Night Football preview.
Okay.
That's where we want to start.
That's where you want to start?
We got Thursday Night Football happening tonight. Okay. We got Carr, we got Smith, we got Hunt, Lynch, Cooper, Crabtree. We got a lot of guys playing tonight. A lot of people that are paying attention. A lot of guys you're paying attention to. And this is overall, this is a good fantasy matchup game. This is a game you feel pretty good about. You have a guy like Kareem Hunt. You're starting him.
Play him, please.
Alex Smith.
Play him.
I'm starting him. Derek Carr. I might not start Derek Carr tonight. I know it's lucrative because the Chiefs have been giving up a couple of good performances over the last few weeks to quarterbacks. Derek Carr and this offense, not in love here.
Wait and see.
Not in love.
I think it's a wait and see approach.
This isn't the week I'm starting.
I'm not giving up on Derek Carr.
No.
But I don't know if I can play him with confidence. And because it's a Thursday night game,
better options.
I'd rather take my time and pick up a Tyrod Taylor, pick up a Blake Bortles, take my chances.
Yeah, better options this week. That's the way I would say it. All right, a guy like Marshawn Lynch.
I think you play him. I think because in this Oakland offense, they're going to need to run the ball a little bit more because they're still trying to get Derek Carr. Look, Derek Carr's not 100% coming off that back injury. He's still dealing with it, and it may linger and plague him throughout the entire year. They're going to need to run the ball. He's going to get the touches, and if they're up in this game late, expect them to run the ball a ton with Marshawn Lynch, like they did in that first game, Week 1 against Tennessee, where late in that game, Marshawn Lynch got a ton of carries. If they're ever up in this game, they're going to try to grind the clock out, and that means a lot of touches for Marshawn Lynch.
All right, how about the Cooper Crabtree case scenario here? Because I know we like making fun of Amari Cooper, doesn't like to get a lot of catches.
Oh, look at that, he dropped another pass.
Yeah, and Michael Crabtree. I'm not sure that I'm starting. I'm starting Michael Crabtree. I'm probably not starting Amari Cooper at this point.
I'm there as well. Crabtree's probably a wide receiver 2 or 3 just because of the Derek Carr impact. I just don't think you can play Cooper at this point. It's weird to say.
There's better options.
But I don't think you can play Cooper.
Yeah, there's a lot better options.
And I think you're playing Travis Kelce from the Kansas City side.
For sure, 100%.
I think you're playing Tyreek Hill. I mean, I don't think there's anyone on the Kansas City side that you're sitting this week.
No, I like everybody from Kansas City this week. Don't be scared off by a blip on the radar that they had last week against Pittsburgh. Let's get into start and sit here, Chris.
Sure.
You ready for this?
Not really, but let's go. But I don't have to switch, so we're good.
You don't have to switch.
No,
you don't have to make any mistakes.
You know what? I'm going to put this over here just in case I accidentally.
Good idea, Chris. We don't want to make any. This is up to Nico. Nico behind the screen is going to be making all this happen, so you're not going to mess it up. We need Jameis Winston graphics up now so we can talk about him. He is going to face a stingy Bills defense. Okay?
He's hurt.
And he's hurt.
He's banged up.
And he's hurt.
He left that game against Arizona. You know what you do when you add all that up together? That is a recipe for disaster for Jameis Winston. You're banged up, you're hurt, you're not sure if you're 100%. You say you're going to try to go, which is fine. Yeah, that's good. But you're going up against a Bills team that has beaten the Broncos, beaten the Falcons in Atlanta, has done a really good job defensively, winning a lot of football games. I don't like this matchup, and I have Winston in the league. I am sitting Jameis Winston down this week.
I am also sitting Jameis Winston down this week, giving up the 4th fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks. That's the Bills defense, so I'm definitely not starting Jameis Winston this week. Next up, Trevor Siemian, Denver Broncos. He had a couple of good weeks starting off the season. Last week was not a good week for him. Not a good week at home against the New York Giants. Chris, are you starting or sitting Trevor Siemian this week?
This is a tough one for me because when you look at Trevor Siemian in his career against the Los Angeles Chargers, he's got 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in 3 total games. That's not a whole lot of fantasy points to go around when you're only throwing 3 touchdowns in 3 games. And 2 of them came in that Monday night game in Week 1 of the regular season. So in both games last year, he only threw 1 touchdown. Doesn't have a good track record against this Chargers team. Now the Chargers, they're one of the they're one of the better teams against quarterbacks. They're only giving up 14.3 points to QBs. So here's what I'll say: if you're in a bind and you have to play Trevor Siemian, I would definitely take a look at Jared Goff, who may be available in your leagues, Tyrod Taylor, who may be available, Blake Bortles. I know I keep bringing these names up, but I think in Trevor Siemian's case, there are better options out there, specifically those 3 guys who I think will have a better week than Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, I'm not tight into playing Trevor Siemian. I haven't been since the beginning of this year, but you know what? He did have a good couple of weeks, so I was making sure that I'm at least paying attention, seeing what happened, but he had a rough week at home off of a bye week. That's not a good sign for this quarterback.
Came out of a game at one point.
Yeah, and I think what happened in the first couple of games was more not really what we're going to see from Trevor Siemian going forward, especially from a fantasy perspective. All right, next up, we're talking about Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans. Chris has a little bit of a crush on Derrick Henry.
A little bit of a crush?
Yeah, it's a lot of bit of a crush.
It's a bit of a man
So I'll
crush
let
on
him
Derrick
talk
Henry.
about Derrick Henry first before I tell you if I'm starting or sitting.
So here's the issue that I have with Derrick Henry, because everyone's going to look at the 19 carries, the 131 yards, and the touchdown in that Monday night game.
Drunk play.
And they're going to go, ooh, I got to play Derrick Henry this week. And yeah, I think you're probably going to play Derrick Henry, so I think I'm going to lean start on this. But the Browns do one thing well, and that's stop the run. They only give up 15 fantasy points to running backs. So you don't stay away from Henry because of the good game, and you don't stay away from Henry because he's still going to be involved in the offense, but you need to temper your expectations of what you're going to get from Derrick Henry this week. So I start him, but with tempered expectations.
I like it. You start him with tempered expectations. I'm looking at a RB2 spot, a flex position.
Exactly.
That's where I feel comfortable starting a Derrick Henry. Next up, we're talking about our boy in the desert. That is Adrian Peterson, a revitalized, huge game for Adrian Peterson last week. Is that going to stay the same? They're playing in London. This is a little different of a game, so I'm more hesitant, but I think I will lean towards start. I'll let you go first and give your points across.
Yeah, I think he's going to start. I think you start him as well. I think, okay, let's just be honest. He's not going to have that type of game again. But he is going to be able to be a productive RB2 flex spot. And the Rams, the one thing they don't do well is stop the run. They are not very good at that. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. And you know what happens when you travel, across the pond to London and the game gets off to a slow start? What do you do to try to kickstart your offense? You run the football.
Yep.
That's where Adrian Peterson comes in. I start him this week, but I don't think he puts up the numbers that he put up last week.
The Rams defense is allowing the most fantasy football points to running backs, so this is why I'm definitely starting Adrian Peterson. I feel very comfortable starting him in a running back 2 spot, especially with the opportunity to have RB1 numbers. Next up, Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey did not have a great week. He's had some up and down this season, definitely.
We need to have an intervention as fantasy football
we need to have
owners.
intervention.
There needs to be an intervention.
Here comes the intervention.
Right now, okay?
All right, Chris.
Everyone,
what's the intervention about?
The intervention is we need to have a serious conversation about Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
It needs to become serious. I know, rookie draft pick, picked up in the first round. Look,
lots of hype.
Lots of hype. You want to pick him up? That's fine. I have him in a couple of leagues. I get it. But let's just look at the numbers. He has scored in 2 straight games. Okay, that's a check mark. We'll put that in the plus box. That's a good thing for Christian McCaffrey. He didn't find the end zone for the first 4 weeks. He hasn't had more than 50 rushing yards in a single game this season. He only has topped 50 receiving yards twice. Where's the production coming from? He only has 2 double-digit fantasy point weeks. I'm sorry, but that is not the production of a running back 1 or even a running back 2. Christian McCaffrey needs to prove something. Now, I'm in a spot where I think I kind of have to play him because of his upside, because of his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield in the PPR league. But let's just be honest. Christian McCaffrey's now living up to the expectations, and while guys like Leonard Fournette are playing extremely well, it's tough for me to tell everyone out here to start Christian McCaffrey. No. I think you sit him.
Yeah, I'm not starting Christian McCaffrey. I understand the upside in a PPR league, but I'm definitely not starting Christian McCaffrey because the upside isn't enough to warrant playing a Christian McCaffrey, especially not in some of the positions I've seen him in as an RB2 or in a flex position. So
he's very touchdown dependent.
He's very touchdown dependent. This Carolina offense is kind of, I'm confused at what's going on and what they're play calling and their game planning. It kind of seems like we got to ride this one out and figure out what we're going to do overall with that offense. But I don't feel comfortable starting. I think what
we've seen the last 3 weeks from them is the trend. I think it's the direction they're going. But I want to see one more week before I fully buy it.
All right, Davante Adams.
Okay.
Let's talk about him.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is out. The switcher is going off by itself.
It's not even me this time.
It's not even Chris's fault. It's literally switching on its own. There are ghosts. It's October. Some weird stuff is happening. Chris is leaving because he's scared. It's getting real weird in here.
Now where the light's going to magically turn off.
There's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's really weird. We're not starting Davante Adams.
You can't. You just can't. You can't justify playing anyone, I think, in this offense other than Jordy Nelson and Martellus Bennett.
Aaron Rodgers isn't playing quarterback. I'm sorry, but I have to see what this offense looks like for an entire game before I start really anybody here. I mean, I'm definitely starting Jordy Nelson because he's Jordy Nelson. Martellus Bennett has sucked thus far this year, but he is going to be the safety blanket, as usually tight ends are. But I don't feel good about starting. I don't even feel good about starting Jordy Nelson. That's where I am. I don't feel good about starting him.
I agree with you. The Saints defense gives up 24.5 points on average to wide receivers. So you'd like to think that he could produce this week against the Saints. But here's what I'll say. If Davante Adams doesn't produce against the Saints, a very bad defense, when's he going to produce? When's it going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially with Brent Hundley playing quarterback. So if it doesn't happen this week, it won't happen. But I'm staying away from Davante Adams.
All right, Away.
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 No.
Just like how the HDMI switcher is away from me, that's where I want to be with Davante Adams. Away.
Okay, Robert Woods.
I love Robert Woods.
Yeah, I like Robert Woods a lot. I like this matchup for Robert Woods. I like the stat. Has reeled in 5 passes in the last 3 of the 4 games. Other than Sammy Watkins, he's seeing the most targets on this team. So I feel pretty good about Robert Woods. And what's going to happen here is Patrick Peterson is going to be on Sammy Watkins, meaning that Robert Woods is going to have some opportunity here because Justin Bethel is, your word, garbage.
Oh, he's garbage. He's very bad.
So bad.
Tremont Williams. I mean, where do you want to go with this quarterback?
Yeah, Bruce Arians might even start Tremont Williams.
The 2 cornerbacks opposite Patrick Peterson are not very good. Tyrann Mathieu hasn't been good in the slot. I think it is points aplenty for any wide receiver not named Sammy Watkins. And I'll be honest, I think Sammy Watkins can maybe have a good game, too.
I agree.
I mean, I don't like this matchup for the Cardinals at all. There's a lot of talent. Goff can throw the ball around. Goff has shown he is not afraid to throw the ball all across the field. So I like them all this week. So I'm starting Woods as well, yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting Woods. I feel very confident in that one, especially because you drafted him probably to be a flex position or a wide receiver, too.
So it's a high upside play.
This is a guy, like we talked about Amari Cooper earlier. I feel way more comfortable starting a guy like Robert Woods than I do with Amari Cooper, and I would probably not have said that going into this season. All right, last up, George Kittle, great fantasy, great football name.
This is my boy.
This is Chris's boy. Chris, what I've realized over the last few weeks since we started this fantasy football show is Chris has a lot of man crushes.
I do. I man crush on a lot of fantasy players, and George Kittle's one of them. And
George Kittle is definitely your man crush.
He's been a tight end darling the last 2 weeks. 17 targets.
Darling.
Yeah, I'll use the term darling. 17 targets
darling.
over the last 2 weeks compared to just 14 to start the year. That's right. He has had 17 targets the last 2 weeks after only having 14 over the first 4. I worry about him against a good Dallas defense, but the one thing you need to keep an eye on, will Sean Lee play in this game? Because if there's no Sean Lee for Dallas, I think that completely changes what they're able to do. I think that opens up more opportunities in the passing game for San Francisco. And let me hit this point again. What do rookie quarterbacks love more than anything else?
The tight end.
The tight end.
Yep.
I'm starting George Kittle.
Love him.
Love him. Starting him this week.
In a tight end position overall, that's a huge disappointment pretty much year in and year out. When you find a trend, when you find a good matchup, you got to start a guy like this. Especially when you have a guy like Tyler Eifert who's out. Some of the top end tight ends are not playing. So this is a good matchup for you.
I'm
allowing you to have this George Kittle moment.
Fine.
I'm allowing for it to happen.
Do we want to recap the poll?
Yeah, let's go back to the poll. Show me the poll.
Oh, gosh. All right.
Chris, moment of truth.
I think this
I'm not going to have you do it.
Okay.
I'm going to have Nico do it.
Right. Let me put this down.
It's on the screen.
Okay.
It's on the screen. I'm just going to tell everybody what happened on the Twitter poll.
I can't see the screen.
Because I'm terrified to tell the audience that you're going to be on the HDMI switcher.
Yeah.
So that's just not going to happen. So, Nico, let's just leave that poll up. Okay, let's just leave that bad boy up.
You just have to hear me. You don't have to see me make this mistake.
We got quite a few for Michael Thomas. Okay. That would be letter E.
Interesting. Okay.
We got Kareem the Dream Hunt, which is not a part of this option. That's not an option.
You're banned from the poll.
Okay, hoping it's C. Somebody said it's Julio Jones. Couple Mike Evans.
See, you can't. Don't do that. Don't hope.
Couple for Larry Fitzgerald.
Don't hope just because you have them on your team. That's not the point of the poll, guys.
So here, guys, we're going to allow for this poll to be messed up this week because y'all didn't listen. Y'all didn't listen to how this poll is supposed to go.
There's no more of this going forward.
Who scores the most points this week?
Not who you think. Not who you want.
Who do I hope scores the most points this week? It's who do you think? So don't use your heart, use your brain, and decide who is going to score the most points. So next week, we'll be back with another poll, and I will allow you again to participate in our poll, and hopefully...
But it better be good. You better come with the good responses.
Yes.
I'll start banning people from the poll. I have no
Chris
problem.
is on a banning.
I'll ban people. I have no issue with it.
He's already ready to go.
Yeah, I've banned one person on the show.
You already banned Blackhawk Mick.
Yeah, he's out.
Like a regular on the show.
You're gone. Out.
Sorry, Blackhawk Mick.
You got to follow the rules of the poll. I'll give you one more chance next week. I'll unban him.
You got one more shot?
He's unbanned. One more time for next week. So who do you like in this poll?
Who do I like in this poll? Okay, so I'll give the heart answer.
So the heart answer
is I want Antonio Brown.
Because you have him.
Because I have him.
Okay.
Okay. The head part of this, when I'm looking at these options,
this is easy.
I really, really like Michael Thomas this week.
Julio Jones is going up against the New England Patriots.
I love Michael Thomas this week.
The New England Patriots.
I understand, but if they take away one person, it's going to be Julio, and then everybody else is going to have a big week.
But here's the problem. They can't do that.
I agree. I understand. I still like Michael Thomas.
Defense. I think Michael Thomas is going to have a good week.
I love Michael Thomas this week.
I agree. The Green Bay Packers can't stop anybody.
That's why I like it, because the Green Bay defense is trash.
Garbage.
And they don't have Aaron Rodgers, so that defense is going to be on
So
the
I think
field
both of
game.
those options are fine. I don't like Larry in London. I think
Nope.
it may take them a little while to get into gear passing-wise. Antonio Brown had a really good game against Kansas City last week, so you certainly think he's going to continue that. And I have a crush on Mike Evans. I think he's one of the more underrated
I also have Mike Evans on my
receivers.
fantasy team, so I like both of those options.
I think he's one of the more underrated, just in terms of pure talent, not in terms of fantasy, and pure talent, most underrated receiver in football.
We might have to revisit this Sunday on a Periscope and see
we'll do it.
who was right and who was wrong.
So I have Julio
leave-
Jones, you have Michael Thomas.
Yeah. Want to make a wager?
Sure. I don't know what we're wagering. But
Okay, wager.
that's our wager.
Live on the show. I don't know what it
we're
is.
not- we'll just-
McDonald's breakfast, maybe, that I still haven't
sure.
gotten from
That's
Jamie.
You take that up with Jamie. I got mine last Sunday.
Okay. All right. Well, that's my own fault, but it is what it is. But we're going to get to Periscope at the end of the show.
Yep.
So if you want to find us, you go at _sports page with an I.
Yeah.
And Chris and I'm going to allow Chris to hang out on my Periscope. Okay, I'm going to allow him.
This is maybe a one-time thing.
He
I
might
may get
have
kicked
5
off.
minutes.
Yeah.
He might have 7 minutes. It might be 30 seconds if he says something stupid.
Yeah,
I don't want to kick him off.
I may get banned quickly.
Yeah, he likes to ban people. I like to
Yes.
ban Chris.
Okay,
that's who
good.
I ban regularly from participating in what I'm doing on my Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris, how can everybody follow you so they can send all their hate?
Yeah,
to you?
or if you have
Only Chris.
a fantasy crush you'd like to send to me as well, do so at Chris R. Schubert.
And you can always send me all of your fantasy football comments. You can send me all your Cubs happy wishes for tonight's big
Yeah, they're gonna
game
lose.
5.
Can't wait.
And you can send me all of your angry tweets about Chris, because I know you're all upset with him
don't
and his
direct them at
HDMI
me.
switching that
Yeah.
he could not make happen today. Well, for Chris Schubert, I'm Paige DeMacos. This has been The Keepers. Good luck in fantasy football this weekend.